Hello, this is Diana Ballard, and welcome to the Mom Training Podcast, where we discuss the skills and strategies to create possibilities in motherhood and make it more fun, efficient, organized, and peaceful. So last week, we talked about ways we can stay healthy during the holidays. I hope you've been able to think about some ways that you can simplify and you can protect your health. Today, we're going to focus on some natural remedies for if you do get sick. Sometimes stress, late nights, and more junk food than we're used to can result in someone feeling under the weather. So we're going to focus on you and some things you can do as an adult and things that work better for children. It's weird because when I get sick, suddenly I forget everything that I should do to help myself get better quicker. I don't know what it is. So hopefully this podcast can be something that you can come back to for ideas if you need them. A lot of times the first thought when someone gets sick might be to take your child or yourself to a doctor. Doctors are necessary and not bad, but there are some things you can do at home and yourself that can prevent a lot of sicknesses from getting worse or getting to a point where medical intervention or medication is needed. In those moments when we do need medical help, we are so grateful they are there and can help us. So as a disclaimer, this information given here is to empower you to help your family how you can first and hopefully prevent doctor's visits if possible, which saves you time, money, and energy. But I don't want you to think I'm saying never go to a doctor or hold off. If your child or yourself is really sick, go girl, go. But let's see if we can prevent some problems. Because the main thing is realizing that you have the power to help your family's health. I'm going to focus on two types of sicknesses, a cold cough and then the stomach flu. So here are some things you can try, and hopefully they will help your family get over sicknesses quicker and prevent them from growing into something worse than the initial sickness. With any type of sickness, you obviously want to continue taking supplements to help yourself get better. Vitamin C, vitamin D, fish oil, probiotics, echinacea, whatever you have. If you just start with vitamin C, great. But there are other things we can work up to using and having in our home on hand that can help us too when we need it. So with each of these kinds of sicknesses we talk about, remember that supplementing and taking things like vitamin C can help you get through it, but that's just one piece of it. Here's some other ideas. Now overall, you want to be feeding your body or your families foods that help you get better. Alkaline foods instead of acidic foods. It's about the body's pH, meaning the acidity level in your body. Did you know that was a thing? Now, these things may be new terminology for you. I invite you to do a little research to see what kinds of foods alkalize your body and which foods make your body acidic. A body that is more alkaline is more chemically stable and will fight sickness. A body that is very acidic from eating acidic foods is more likely to get sick and way sicker than if your body was in a better pH level. So an example of alkalizing foods is lemon, veggies, quinoa, fruit. Example of acidic foods are fast food, sugar, flour, dairy, stuff like that. Everything you put into your body turns into a chemical reaction in your body to either help it or hurt it. So nutrition is going to be key here too, and staying away from sugar and foods that make your body acidic. So let's talk about a cold, cough, or sinus infection. First thing I am going to recommend is a neti pot. If you don't know what that is, it's a little pot. I'd recommend a ceramic one that you would use to rinse out your sinuses. You put the little spout on one side of your nose, like in your nostril, okay? You tip your head sideways a certain way, and the water flows through one nostril and out the other. Whoa, say what? Yep, you can literally clean out your entire nasal cavity with this thing. Takes a little practice, but it works wonders, and I'll give you some tips of how to use it. Again, go look it up, neti pot, okay? With an N, neti pot. So you start using a neti pot the second you start seeing any type of symptoms. You're like, kind of getting kind of a stuffy nose, kind of feeling a little bit of pressure in my sinuses. You kind of know when something's coming on. You're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to clean out my sinuses, because if I clean it out, especially with the salt water solution that I'm going to make, it kills stuff. It takes it out and it doesn't give it room to grow. And that's what the goal is. So you use distilled water and sea salt or Himalayan salt. Okay. When you start feeling any type of cold coming on, my belief is that if it goes from your nose down into your lungs, that's when it can turn into a worse cold or then get a cough. So cleaning out the source 1 to 2 times daily when we start seeing symptoms can really prevent a lot of problems. I know it sounds weird, and it most definitely will feel weird the first handful of times, but it's worth getting used to. We'll save you tons of time, energy, and money by preventing these problems. So here's just a couple tips. 1, watch videos of how to get the angle right when you use a neti pot. Head to the side, yet tipped back just enough to have your nose pointing up just a bit. Watch the videos and you can see. And while standing over your bathroom sink, run some water through one side and out the other. Plug the side that you started the water through and blow everything out the other, then switch sides, going back and forth until the water is gone. You'll be amazed at what stuff comes out. You may be thinking, girl, you nasty. Sweet thing, you're a mom. You know nasty, all right? Sometimes getting nasty, getting used to the nasty and taking care of it is what's going to help us the most. We know that, right? Get nasty, girl. Get nasty. You got to get this stuff cleaned out. No matter what, you either got to cough it up, blow it out, whatever. This is going to be the fastest way for you to get it out in like your own confined area where no one's around you. You're not having to blow your nose or do all this kind of stuff. Just get it out. Just let it out. No one's even around you. Just blow it all out. Get rid of it. Another tip is making sure the water is warm enough. Like, I like mine to be a little hot for my finger to stay in. Not like it's like going to burn it, but ooh, that's warm. But 1, the warmer it is, the more mucus it'll clean out. And 2, if the water is warmer, you'll be able to do it easier. I've tried it with cold or lukewarm water, and my body reacts the same way as if I get water in my nose while swimming. It doesn't like it, and I can't successfully neti pot. This literally can prevent the common colds from turning into a sinus infection or anything worse. If I'm feeling anything happening in my sinuses, I'm like, I don't think so. That neti pot and I are best buds in cleaning out things 1, 2 to 3 times a day, depending on how determined I am to be like, bro, you ain't growing in there. I'm sorry. This ain't your home. My nose is not where you're going to be sitting for the next couple weeks. Nope. You out of there. I'm washing you out clean. Okay, second thing, just a reminder to use is a humidifier for you and your kids. I somehow forget that I need it too. Like a couple weeks ago, I was starting to get a little bit of a cold, and my husband reminded me, and it changed everything. I got better after 3 days of using it. I had a humidifier at night, neti pot first thing in the morning before I would blow my nose. That's a huge thing too with the neti pot. You want to neti pot before you blow your nose in the morning. Because if you blow it, you know how you blow your nose and then all of a sudden your nose is stuffy. You want to neti pot like fresh in the morning before you like sniff a bunch in or try to blow it out, and it'll clear out like a ton. You'll be amazed what comes out, and you'll be glad that you did it, because the goal is to get out as much as possible. So I used to take Mucinex to clear out the mucus and get rid of like sinus stuff, but the humidifier in the neti pot literally makes it so I don't have to take Mucinex. I haven't taken it for probably 10 years whenever I've, gotten some type of sickness. Okay, the next tip, raw garlic. Say what? Yep, raw garlic can actually act almost like an antibiotic in killing off bacteria and viral infections. It's even scientifically proven, you guys. It's amazing. If you take like a half to 1 clove of garlic, depending on how big it is, 2 to 3 times a day when you're starting to get sick, it'll kill things off. Will you smell a little bit like garlic when you sweat? Yeah, maybe for a day or so, but an extra shower and a little more deodorant can help with that, and killing off the bacteria and virus quickly is amazing and saves us so much time instead of getting sick. So here's some tips about how you or your kids can take it. Now remember, if you're new to natural remedies, don't worry if it takes a little while for you and your family to get used to these things. Just keep trying things and see what works for you. So for me, I cut the garlic into small pieces, but ones that I can pick up, not diced. I put some water in my mouth, drop the garlic in, and swallow, like instantly. Barely taste it. My husband puts it in a cup of water and drinks it. I can't do that. For my kids, I chop it up a little smaller, and obviously they don't need as much as I do, so it's just a little bit. And I put it in honey, like a little spoonful of honey, and then tell them not to chew, but just to swallow, and have a drink on hand that they can, if they accidentally chew it or they're having a hard time getting some down, they can take a drink and swallow it down. Will it take practice? Yes, but my 3-year-old can do this fine now, and weirdly enough, she actually likes it. It's probably because she gets a spoonful of honey, honestly, but haven't had to try it with my 16-month-old yet. He might be a little too young for it, but garlic can kill the sickness really well. because antibiotics are an amazing invention and have saved many lives, and we're so grateful for them. But when used too much, it can be really bad for our bodies because the antibiotics kill off the good and bad bacteria, which the good bacteria in our body is what fights the bad bacteria. So if you have someone that uses antibiotics often, they will actually get sicker more often and worse than others. This is where building up the good gut bacteria comes in, for that's where your immune system is based and strongest. So if we can prevent our bodies or our families from getting sick and needing antibiotics, then that's great. We can save the antibiotics for times that are really serious. Again, you as the mama and your health provider can make the final decision, but just want you to be aware so you can be proactive if you'd like. Going along with the garlic cloves, I'm going to give you a recipe that works really well for a cold, cough, sinus infection, or stomach flu. It's chicken broth with spinach and garlic cloves. So it's 4 cups of chicken broth, a handful of spinach, which usually I chop up just a little bit, and 5 to 6 chopped garlic cloves. I add a little bit more seasoning sometimes if I feel like it, or I keep it semi-bland if it's like, the stomach flu or they're vomiting or something, not to upset the tummy very much. But you just cook that for a while until it, is boiling, and then you can serve that. And for adults, eat everything, the spinach, the garlic pieces, drinking the chicken broth. For picky kids, you may only be able to get the broth down. But the broth has a lot of good stuff in it now because you cooked it with the spinach and the garlic. So even if you can get the broth down, it's really amazing. I don't know what it is about that mixture, but it kicks sickness really fast. But whatever you can do to get it in your kids' little bodies, it works wonders. So then let's switch a little bit to the stomach flu. Obviously, one of the biggest things with the flu is trying to make sure that someone stays hydrated. Because that's kind of where it gets dangerous with kids, especially little kids, is if they can't keep anything down, they have diarrhea, the biggest concern is dehydration, right? And they do have medication that can help your kid not throw up, right? I've had to do that once before with my daughter when it was a 5-day flu. And I'm like, dude, she is dehydrated. She has to stop throwing up, So there are things like that. But overall, usually the stomach flu doesn't last that long. We just want to keep giving little sips and stuff. With throwing up and having diarrhea, obviously we lose a lot of electrolytes. So, we can go to Pedialyte, we can go to Gatorade. So those are wonderful. Those are created to be able to help us with electrolytes, okay? But I'm going to give you something natural to try that has less chemicals, less sugar, dyes, whatever, okay? So it's actually just coconut water. So using coconut water instead of maybe Gatorade or Pedialyte. Now, obviously talk to your doctor. They may be for or against, but coconut water, you can do some research, has amazing electrolytes in it. It's all natural sugars instead of refined sugars that are in a lot of these things. And you want to make sure that you find coconut water that is literally only coconut water. I mean, some have some fruit juices in them to add flavor like mango or pineapple or something, whatever. But for sick times, we just use pure coconut water, okay? No fruit in it, no nothing. So some coconut waters you can find at stores have sugar added. And sugar kills your immune system, so you want to stay away from that as much as possible. So we always have coconut water on hand for if anyone gets sick or dehydrated somehow, especially when I'm breastfeeding or forget to drink what I need to. Coconut water is nature's natural electrolyte drink. So it's similar to Gatorade, but it just doesn't have the chemicals and dyes Gatorade has. Coconut water is definitely a better choice if you're wanting to go a little bit more natural and stay away from the chemicals and the processed stuff. And giving a little bit of time to see if they can keep it down and really trying to build up their electrolytes and their water intake again. So another thing that's really good for the stomach flu is colloidal silver. So in our house, this prevents us from getting sick and also kills the virus. There's some sprays you can use for your throat, a liquid you can just take orally, but it kills flu bugs. If anyone is ever starting to get the stomach flu or I feel something coming on, I take it right away. And it prevents it or lessens the symptoms a ton, and it's amazing. So looking into that, you're like, what, silver? You eat silver? Yeah, it's a liquid. They use it to clean wounds. They use it to kill off things. It can use them as a medicinal thing. It's really amazing stuff. So with any type of sickness, here are a couple supplements you can take that can really help while you're sick. So echinacea, which is an herb. So this is something that needs to be taken regularly while you're sick. So you can't take it once, it needs to be taken a couple times a day. And you follow the directions on the bottle or the dropper or whatever you have, whatever form you have it in. But it's really amazing at helping your immune system in the moment, when you need it. And then there's golden seal, which is an herb that works like an antibiotic. So obviously this is something you need to do with some more research and talking to someone who knows about the herb before using them, or specifically giving them to children. But, I mean, you could read up on a couple things, see the doses, see the type of things you could buy. So, and there's like golden seal echinacea, like mixtures that you can take that really just knock things out. Like those are two like I would highly recommend to have on hand, especially if you're trying to fight things naturally. Vitamin C, D, fish oil, probiotics, having your sauerkrauts and your kefirs and, kombucha, whatever you do to build up your good bacteria in your gut are wonderful for immune boosting before and during sicknesses. So you want to be like really on that, especially in the seasons where, you start to see a little bit more sickness coming around. So you can read more about these vitamins and supplements as well as the silver on my supplement dispensary for more details, but just wanted to throw those in there so you can think about that and kind of do a little bit of research for yourself. And you can find that at dianaballard.com. But these are some tips that you can do to be proactive in taking care of your family and yourself if sickness does hit your family at any time. Because mama, you are so amazing and seriously have the ability to save your family so much time, energy, and money by learning these different skills of I can take care of my family. I can be proactive in my family's health and building their immune system, in doing these natural things to clear out these sicknesses. Like I am a fighter. I, as the mama, have the power to help my family. I just want to really bring that home to you. These skills will change your life. These skills will help you feel important as a housewife and a mom, because you're doing something great already by raising these kids. But the more you increase your skill set, the more you increase your ability to be proactive in helping this family unit run, the better you are going to feel about your position as a wife, housewife, or whatever you are for your family, and the easier your life is going to flow. I know you can do it. I know you're an amazing person that are listening to this right now. And I'm excited for what you're creating in your life. For many people in the U.S. this week, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. So if you're celebrating this holiday, I hope you have a wonderful time and that you can feel gratitude and love during this season. I want you to know I'm grateful for you for listening and for everyone who has shared this podcast with other moms. Come follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Diana Ballard Live. Hit subscribe and we'll see you next week on the Mom Training Podcast.